So students, last week's class will be, wait, I'll share my screen as well. So last week's class was only recorded by me. I had not shared it because I was traveling, as I told you last week, and I will be uploading it today. And today's video is being live streamed to this particular link. So you can please go and check whether it is working fine or not. Live stream to this particular link. So you can please go and check whether it is working. Okay. Okay. So we were learning about Python, right? Python programming language, and we learned a few things, including assertion, where we can actually assert for a particular variable to have a particular value. Okay, and it will give you an assertion error if the value doesn't match. Okay, so you can actually do it this way as well, that we have seen in the previous class. Okay, so and before that we had done some relational and logical operations, string formatting, split and join, okay, string methods, etc. So today, now we will look into what is string containership. Okay, so I'll just take a terminal. Okay, so last week I had introduced you to IPython also, if you remember. Okay, okay, so we can take the IPython 3 shell. We can also have Python 3 shell or Python 2 shell. Okay, so the difference between Python 2 and Python 3 is, there is some difference, and Python 3 is the latest version, and I told you that we will use IPython, which is an intelligent Python interpreter, unlike the Python, which doesn't have any history information or any of those kind of information. This one has the history information, etc. as well. So I will now take the IPython 3 terminal. Now we already have discussed that Python programming language is a dynamically typed programming language, which means that we don't have to define the the variable as in what kind of variable it is. We don't have to define that. We just have to assign the value to it, and we can start using it right away. Okay, so now we were looking at just a second. Right, we were looking at string containership. Okay, so here in the you must have now understood how to read this, right? Say for example, there is an input and then there is an output. Okay, so first one in the input we have fruits. Fruits is an identifier, right? Fruits is an identifier that we have used for a variable called fruits, which is going to contain a string. Okay, so apple comma banana comma pear is all enclosed in a single quote, and it is a string. As we have already seen in Python, this is a string, and we are now typing in the second statement, which is we are passing a particular string apple, and we are checking in fruits. Okay, so it will check whether the substring or the string apple is present in the string fruits. Okay, so we can see that apple is already present in fruits. Okay, so it will return true. And on the other hand, when you try potato in fruits, since potato is not there as part of the string, right, it will return false, and this is what is called as string containership. Okay, so if I take the terminal, you can see that you can see that there is in 2, right? So this is what I mean. Fruits is equal to apple, pear, banana. Okay, okay. That was in a slightly different order, but that's okay. Okay. Now what we will check is apple. Oh, I'm sorry. Apple in fruits. Okay, it will return true. So you can see that the first command or the first line of Python statement that we wrote was this one. We defined a variable called fruits, and we assigned the value apple, pear, banana, which is a string, into the variable fruits. Okay, and this one, when I typed in, right, there was a mistake, and it gave me that there was a syntax error. So you should not consider the in3. Okay, it does not produce any output, while the in4, right, is the second statement that we have typed, which is the correct statement. So the apple in fruits. So we are checking whether this string apple is there in fruits. We can also do it this way. In fruits, it will return true. I can try dot in fruits, but dot is not there in fruits, right? I can try potato in fruits. That's false. Okay, so you can see that there are different this is what is called as string containership. Okay, now there is there are 2 points that are given below. Use tab completion to list other string methods, and use question mark to find more information. So this is something that I have already told you, right? Say for example, if I type strl and le, and then I press tab, right? Just type le and press tab. It will show me what are the possible completions possible. For example, I type a and I press tab. It will show me that these are the possible completions. Of course, this one is the file name. Okay, the second one, admission fee, that's the file name. So let me try s. So by the way, this is actually listing two things. Okay, it is listing this is called a magic command, whichever that starts with a percentage. Okay, and you can see that there is db export underscore vla underscore db.sql that is given over here, right? That's a file name, while del is a valid keyword in Python. Okay, so del, but we have not passed the complete syntax, so we can actually take a look at what del does. Okay, del, it's not there. Let's take a look at what len does. Okay, if I want to know what len does, I can do len question mark, and it will give me what it is. Say if I have a function called print and I type print question mark, it will tell me what it will do. So it will return me a doc string. Okay, so the type print is a built-in function or method. Okay, print takes a value, a separator, and an end of the line, and file, that is sys.standard output, which is a default parameter. So this is something that I am going to tell you right now. Okay, so I've used a terminology called default parameter. Okay, so let me show you what is default parameter. So you must read up about what is default parameter in functions. Okay, say I can mention, I can define my function def f comma x comma y. Okay, like this, and I can write some statements that needs to be executed when the function f is called. Okay, I can also do one thing, that I can mention z is equal to 3 and y is equal to 4 if I want, and that way I can pass f of 4, and that will automatically be considered as f of 4 comma 4 comma 3, okay, or more accurately if you look at it, it is x is equal to 4, then y is equal to 4 and z is equal to 3. So these are the, when the function is called, the values x, y, z take are as given above. Okay, I can also do it like this, f of 5 comma 6, that will get translated to f of x is equal to 5, y is equal to 6 and z is equal to 3, right. So and another one I can try is I can do f of 1 comma 2 comma 3, that will straight away get, okay, let me give another example, 10 comma 12 comma 13.
Sir,
Okay, yes, yes, who is this? Prajwal. I think somebody interrupted me in between. Can you please say out your name and tell me what happened? Students? Okay.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Who was that?
yes, sir. I had a doubt.
Okay, Prajwal, please go ahead, ask.
Actually, you told that the default parameter y is equal to 4 and z is equal to 3. Then how can you change the value of y and z?
Prajwal, your voice is echoing, or there's some issue. I'm unable to hear it clearly. Can you type out your question, please?
Sir, now is it audible?
It's audible, but there is a lot of noise in there, as in disturbance in your voice. But go ahead.
1 minute,
Once.
sir. I will type, sir.
Okay, you can read up about default arguments in Python from this link that I'm going to share with you. Okay, I hope Prajwal is typing. Yeah, sir, how can we change the values in default parameters? Okay, Prajwal, it means that this is part of your code, right? Whatever I have shown you over here is def f of x comma y is equal to 4 comma z is equal to 3, and then few statements that complete the definition of the function f, correct? Now I have given the default values for the parameter y and z to be 4 and 3 respectively, correct? And that is the reason why when I call f of 4, it gets filled up with the values f of 4 comma 4 comma 3, and when I call it with f of 5 comma 6, it gets filled up with f of 5 comma 6 comma 3. Okay, and
Sir,
yes,
sir, but you have fixed the value y is equal to 4 now. Then how can you change the system?
I'm unable to completely understand what you are saying. Can you please type that, Prajwal?
Sir, he is telling that
Yeah.
if default is used for fixing the values, then how can we change in during the function call?
What do you mean by that? Oh, you mean okay. Say okay. So default means if in case when a function is called without passing values for all the parameters, then the values for the parameters, then the default values of the parameters will be used. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. So okay. So that's why I wanted to send this thing send this to you, and I think I've already shared it with you, right? Yeah. So Prajwal is asking. Yeah, I think Prajwal, is your doubt okay, clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
All right, sure. So it's part of the definition of default parameters. Okay. All right. Now, so I think this is pretty clear to you, right? What default parameters are. Now, so the reason why I told you about default parameters is because I wanted to tell you what question mark does when you use it with a function name in IPython. It won't work with Python, okay? It won't work with the default Python interpreter. It will work only with the IPython interpreter. Okay, so here you can see that the separator, right, has a default value of space, end has a default value of \n, and file has a default value of sys.stdout, and flush has a default value of false, which means that if you pass only the value print 5, that will print 5, correct? And if you want to, you know, use a different stream or a different end character or a separator character, then you can actually, you know, do it by passing the optional keyword arguments. Okay, these are optional keyword arguments because these have some value that is already allotted by default, meaning that if you omit those variables when you call that function, or those parameters when you omit those parameters when you call the function, those parameters will take the default values, and that is why these are called the optional keyword arguments. Okay, so keyword arguments is also another you know, terminology that we will be coming across in Python. Okay, so here file, separator, end and flush are the 4 optional keyword arguments, which means that you have to pass it, you have to pass it with a keyword. Okay, so with the keyword, meaning that I can actually keep end over here instead of SCP, and instead of end I can keep SCP over here, and instead of flush I can keep file over here, etc., which means that the ordering in which I am passing these keyword arguments doesn't really matter, because I am calling it with the name of the argument. Okay, so that is what we wanted to see what question mark does. Now I can do double question mark. Okay, double question mark doesn't do anything in print. Let me think about any other you know, yeah, I think import. Okay, so I'm just taking one function. I know that there is a package called numpy, and in numpy there is a function called absolute. Okay, so here, right, the function absolute, when I typed in the numpy.abs question mark, so here I am demonstrating what the question mark does. Okay, so question mark gave me more information about the arguments, keyword arguments that needs to be passed, and then the you know, what it does. Okay, so absolute of a value x. Okay, and some keyword arguments are also available over there. Okay, so parameters, it mentions x is an array like input array. Okay, and output is again an array. Okay, that is what it says. Now you can see that a lot of details are available there. Now I try double question mark. Let's see what is the difference between the previous one and this one. Again, no difference, unfortunately. Okay, let me tell you, in some programs the question mark, right, will get you the implementation of that particular function. Okay, so let me show you an example. Okay, so over here I'm going to write a function def add, okay, a comma b, okay, and then I'm going to write add a comma b returns the sum of a and b. Okay, a can be int. Okay, I mean, like a Python function, and here I am writing the doc string. Okay, and then I am writing return a plus b. Okay, so here I have defined a function called add. Now let us see what add question mark will give me. So it will give me add a comma b returns the sum of a and b, a Python function. Here I am writing the doc string. So whenever you define a function, okay, you can actually use a triple quoted string, and that's called a doc string, just below your signature. So this is a signature, right, where the function name is add and a and b are the parameters that the function add will take. Now I type add space add question mark, and in this case, right, you can see that it also gives you the source of the program of the function. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you as the difference between question mark and double question mark. And I was unable to find a function which or I was unable to recollect a function which will readily show you the code also. Anyway, so this is the reason why I showed you this. Now I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to I just created a folder called Python 3, okay, and I'm going to do %hist, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I need a -n, okay, and you can see that %hist is an IPython magic command, by the way. %hist is an IPython magic command. It's not there in Python. So this one has actually listed out all the lines of code that we have written. Okay, so in line number 17 we have the function definition. Now I can do one thing called %save, okay, and then I can pass it a function, I mean file name python3 slash first script dot py, okay, or just I'm just giving it some name. I'm going to save it in the folder Python 3 which I just created, and I want the lines, let's say 2, 4, okay, and then I want let's say 5, 6, then I want 17, and I pressed enter. You can see that it tells you the following commands were written to file python3 slash first hist script dot py, and these lines were written to the file. Now what does that mean to you? It means that if you go to the folder python3 now, okay, and let me show you. Yeah, ls, you can see that there is a Python script that is available there. I can open it with Emacs. So let me open, I opened it with Emacs, my favorite editor which I keep using. Okay, right. You can see that these are the lines of code that it added, correct? Now the what do you think will be the output of this particular program if I try to run it? Would it produce any output? Okay, let me try to run it. So I run it with Python 3 first hist script. It has not produced any output, but it has not produced any error as well. Now what it means is that this actually should have been a print statement, okay, and this also should have been a print statement, and this also should have been a print statement. Had these three been a print statement, right, it would it would print true or false. Let's try to run the program again. So the first one is apple, true, right, comma, true, and dot is false, which means that when I try to run it, it will print true, true, false in the program. And what happened to the function that is there? Well, this is a valid function definition, which means that there is no error. I can either keep it there, okay, or I can move it up on the top if I want. Let me leave it there, okay. And trust me, this code is messy because this code is not doing any one particular thing, and it's not it's just a script to show you how we can actually write whatever we are learning as in Python into a script, into a program, okay. So here I am going to write print add 5,6, okay. Then I can have, let's say, 15, 16, then 50, 60, okay. So this is going to now print true, true, false, and then give me 11, then 31, and then 110 as the output, correct? So you can see that whenever we want something to be printed onto the standard output, we will use the function print, and this is how we will generally write a script, okay. So we can actually move this into this is a function, and now I can actually, there is no main function per se in Python, okay, but there is something called like this. Okay, so I just indented the region. Now one thing that you need to understand is that the last time when we wrote that simple script in Python, right, we did that hello world print, right. We printed we wrote this program for C as well as we wrote the program for Python. One thing in Python that you need to be very careful is the spaces that you use between the between the start of the line and the first character. That determines which block this particular program or this particular statement belongs to. So so just remember that what I said is the statements, okay. So I am going to delete these default parameters things, okay, or let me create another SN. So the number of spaces between the start of the line and the first character in the statement, right, determines which block that particular statement belongs to. In C and C, C++, Java, etc., we use curly braces to to describe blocks, right? Here there are no curly braces or statement terminators.
Yes, sir. Indentations.
Yes, this is called indentation. Okay, and indentation usually in Python, there's something called PEP 8 standard. Now, what is PEP 8 standard? I'll just show you what is PEP 8 standard. Yeah, so PEP 8 is like PEP 8 suggests lines should be limited to 79 characters, and this is how to write beautiful Python code with PEP 8. Now, if you look at PEP 8, it is a specification, standard specification regarding how many blank lines we should have between the definition of two classes. Okay, what should be the class name like, what should be the function name be like. Okay, then how many spaces should be there, and all of those things, right? How we will be writing Python code generally, and this means that the naming convention and all of these things. And why is it important? So why do they mention about some standard? Okay, because it makes it uniform across, and also makes it easier for developers to work on somebody else's code. Correct? Do you understand what I mean by this? Say for example, let's say Abhishek wrote a program in C programming language, and he has not followed any conventions or anything. He has not followed any naming conventions. He has not followed any let's say space conventions, or when between the blocks, etc., as an indentation. So nothing was followed. Now what will happen is, if another person in the class tries to debug that program, or tries to run that program, or tries to understand that program, it is very difficult. So this problem can be overcome to an extent using these standards, and it makes it very easy and pleasing for a person to read that code. Okay, because the standards were followed. Okay, now so we started with question mark. So I told you about question mark, and then I showed you about how to write a simple program. Of course, we can't use question mark in the in over here. Okay, say for example, if I use print question mark, right, it would actually result in an error, because this Python script, right, generally a Python script will be run by the default Python interpreter. Okay, so yeah, so now let me do one thing. I'm going to exit this particular code shell. Okay, I'm going to exit this particular shell, and the reason why I want to do that is because I want to show you what I can do with the code, with the line of code that I had created over here. Okay, so you can see that I have added if name is equal to underscore main underscore colon, right? So I may have to remove that indentation over there. Okay, but Python 3. Now let's say I'm going to invoke a new IPython 3 shell. Okay, and we can see that there is something called add over here, right? So add question mark, it says that there is no particular function called add that is available here. Okay, fruits, there's no nothing called fruits defined, there's no object fruits found. Okay, fruits question mark also doesn't give us anything. So I can actually run the basic terminal commands from my Python shell itself. So I am going to run ls, which means that list the contents of the directory which is in home Anoop Python 3. Okay, so it has the file first hist script. So over here I am going to do something, another magic, which is %run -i first. Okay, the reason why I told you why magic, because this is an IPython magic. Okay, so because the percentage is not generally used in the Python interpreter, but this IPython interpreter makes it a little more intelligent or little more handy, and these are some additional features which IPython interpreter boasts about. So I'm going to run it this way, and you can see that it has actually printed all the code over here. And now I'm going to just see whether fruits is there. Yes, fruits is there, which earlier resulted in an error, and earlier add was not there, but add is now there, which means that I can actually use my IPython shell to I can actually use a script to save certain things and load the state in an IPython shell if I want, or else you can simply run it as a script with your Python 3 or Python 2, whatever. Okay, so we learned about this question mark, and I wanted to tell you that this is a totally IPython specific thing, that is question mark. Okay, and the tab completion is also something that is IPython specific. It is not there in the Python interpreter. Say for example, I am going to say over here I am going to type a, oh I'm sorry, not this one, yeah, a, and then press tab. You can see that the function add, right, the function add is also mentioned over there. Okay, and if you type ads and tab, it will auto complete it to add, because that's the only function that is available in this particular namespace. Okay, so we looked at string containership, and I also told you about default parameters, and I also told you about the the question mark and the IPython and the Python differences, and how to create a simple script. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Okay, so these are all the typecasting built-in with Python. Okay, say for example, if you want to do 17 by 2.0, let's say if you take the IPython terminal and you try 17 divided by 2.0, it is a floating point division that happens over there, because type of 17 is actually an int and type of 2.0 is a float, and division by an integer by float results in, let's say, type of, let's say, 17 by 2.0, right, that results in a float value. Now this particular float value is typecasted it into an integer, and this is done by this. Okay, so if you just type 17 by 2.0, it will give you 8.5 as the output, but if you want to typecast it, you can typecast it by this way, which will give you 8 by discarding the decimal part. And then float 17 by divided by 2, that is, say, 17, okay, that is 8, and sorry, and then you have a string, and then you have round. Okay, so these are all the different built-in functions. Say for example, these two initial first three are the typecasting, okay, where you typecast from one type to another type, and where you typecast from, let's say, the value 8.5 to a string 8.5 in the third one, and the round function takes the value of 7.5 or any value, and then it rounds it off to the next nearest integer. Okay, so round question mark, round a number to a given precision in decimal digits. Okay, and I can have another function called floor, I think. Is that, oh, that's not there already. Okay, that's fine anyway. Now, there are some odds and ends in Python. Like this is case sensitive. Say for example, okay, so we have two variables, hello, right? What is that? I'm getting confused. It's a string. Will this work this way? Yeah, so this is actually case sensitive. Oh, by the way, it's my mistake. Okay, actually I stored.
Yes, sir, it's case
yeah,
sensitive.
yeah. Okay, and then if I type hello, right, it will give me higher note and okay. So the just like in C programming language, the identifiers are case sensitive, and then this is dynamically typed, which we have already seen, and we have also seen the comments. Say for example, there are comments that you can start with. The comments start with a hash, okay, and it can start from any place in your line. So it can be just after the statement, or there can be nothing but just a comment statement. So a is equal to 1 hash inline comments. So this hash inline comments, right, that part is a comment, while a is equal to 1 is a statement, it's a valid statement. And then the second line given over there, right, a comment line, this is a complete comment where there is no particular statement, no particular valid statement is available there in that particular line. Then the third one is given as a equal to, in double quotes, hash not a comment, which means that it's a string. Okay, so there we have defined a string. So let's try first exercise. Given a 2-digit integer x, find the digits of the number. For example, let us say x is 38. Find a way to get a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 8 using x. So this is something that you have already done in your C programming language, if you remember. Can anyone please write a program to do this, please?
Sir, we can use mod and get the remainder each time into a different variable.
Okay, who said that? Just a second.
Sir, Bhadraksh Bhargav.
Bhadraksh is saying that we can use mode just like how we have used mode in C programming language. Yes, you can give the keyboard arguments as named parameters in Python. Yes, Bhadraksh. Okay, so can someone please write the code for this? Who said this? Bhadraksh, right?
Yes, sir.
Bhadraksh, can you write the code, please? A full working code.
Just a minute, sir.
All of you also please try and make sure that you are in a position to write a full working Python code for the same.
Sir, we can use a different method also, sir. We can convert the integer into a string,
Yeah.
and then if we iterate through the string, then we can get each number, and then we can convert it back to an integer.
That is also possible, yes. So there are two ways that who said this second way?
Sir, me only, sir.
Okay, Badraksh. So Shubham Joshi, what is x is equal to 35? Okay, Shubham has assigned the value. Now Shubham, can you write the next set of statements, please? A is equal to x divided by 10. Okay, so is that going to give us the output? I mean, the thing that we want. So let's try that out. Just like
Sir, it will be integer part.
okay, so who said that? So I'm just giving x is equal to 35. Then a is equal to x divided by 10, and a is 3.5. Yeah, you should then do int of
In day.
yes. You should do. You can do it this way as well. Oh, by the way, there's a problem, right? Shubham, your program won't give you the output that is required. So Badraksh is trying out some other code now. All of
So
you.
I'll just write it in a editor and I'll copy paste it here.
Yes, yes, that's fine. So I want all of you to send something in the chat box, the program that you want, you will be writing to, you know, print the digits of a number. It's a 2-digit number. So waiting for Badraksh or some other people who will be able to share the details. So let me, in the meantime, let me check one thing. Okay, so anyway, whatever Badraksh has said will work. Okay, so first thing, one solution would be a is equal to x divided by 10. So a is equal to x divided by 10. That will give you 3. Okay, and then you can do b is equal to x percentage 10. Okay, so then you have b is equal to 5. That is one way. Okay, and then you can do a into 10 plus b equal to x, which is true. Okay, there is another solution which Badraksh has had mentioned. Okay, which is let's say x is 35, so sx is equal to string of x. Okay, and print sx of 0, and then I can convert it back into an integer if I want. Okay, that will give me 3, and that will give me 35, right? Is that clear, students?
Sir,
Yes.
so if we write b is equal to x upon 5, then and we do print round off.
Prajwal, I have already shown you the solution. I have already shown you the code. Ask me doubts. Otherwise, I want you to practice. Okay, so exercise 1, this was the question. Given a 2-digit integer x, find the digits of the number. For example, let us say x is 38. So this was one solution, and this is another solution. Okay, so I hope this is clear to all of you. I have already shown it in my interpreter as well. Next is another exercise. Given an arbitrary integer, count the number of digits it has. Anyone, please?
Sir, here also we can use the same two ways and get the
Here
number
also
of
you can.
digits. Use the same two ways we previously used for
Yes,
35.
yes, yes.
One.
You can. You can. Okay.
But sir, if we have to count the number of digit
Uh,
uh, in in place of an interpreter, if we are writing in a script, sir, we have to initialize a variable as 0. Then we can count it.
can you explain that once again, Abhishek? What is it? What did you mention?
Sir, we can apply the same method, but we have to initialize one variable as 0 so that it could be added to 1 if we are counting it.
Oh, okay.
Like count is equal to 0 and
Uh-huh.
count is
Got
equal to
it.
count.
Got it. Got
Count
it.
plus plus.
Okay. So let me give you a very simple solution. Say, for example, x is 35, right? Let's say another number, some number. This is a number, okay? And I am going to write one single line Python code which will tell me the length, the number of characters, number of digits in that. Okay, so I can do string of this, okay, and then I can do len of this. That will give me the number of digits in that. So if I have 35, it's 2. If it is 3, it is 1. Do you guys follow what I have done? So over here, you may not have known about this function called len. That's fine. So this is the sneaky solution for this particular thing. Another one would be what Bhadraksh had mentioned, where you can actually do the percentage 10 and loop until the integer division yields value 0. Okay, and then you don't further proceed with it, and you will print the number of characters as the number of times number of numbers as the number of times the loop ran. Okay, so that is another way. So you can understand that be it Python or be it C programming language, it is programming, that is what we are doing, and the logic almost remains the same, but it is the easiness which Python promises to you. Okay, so let's take a look at how we can take input. Okay, so say this is simple IO, that is input output.
Sir,
Yes.
we are having another class right now.
Okay, you have another class. Okay, so let us continue from the simple
sir.
IO in the next class. Okay, and thank you everyone. Let's meet in the next class.
Sir, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Please,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
sir, can you
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
I think Rituraj was asking something.
No, sir, I said thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thanks.
somebody else was asking something, I believe. Bhadraksh Bhargava has sent a code. Count is equal to 0, x is equal to int of input. For I in str of x, count plus equal to 1. Okay, and then you did it with ln of strx. Okay, print. Can you please share the slides? Yes, I will share the slides. And I had already told you where you can get the slides, right? I had already told you where I have taken the slides from, and this is available on Python workshops. So if I will delay sharing the slides for a few more days, because I want you to explore Git and compile the slides by yourself. Why is it difficult for you? I have actually shared you the source with you, right? Please try that as well, and I'll delay sharing the slides by 2 more days. If anybody can get the slides by that time, that'll be great, well and good. Okay, so that's it, students. Let's meet in the next class.